say what you want about Ryan, but people will fucking watch. And there's reasons for that. He's exciting, fast, and we've seen him get those crazy KOs, right? And as fans, casual fans, hardcore fans, whatever, as fans, we want to see that. And of course, if he comes to your town or close by, you're going to want to go live, bro. And you want to go see that. And this is what happens, like a fighter like Shakur. You have these guys talk all this shit. One guy's, really good defensively, really good with the movement, but, I mean, we really haven't seen anything like where we want to watch this guy fight. And that's Shakur. Ryan Garcia may not be fighting at the highest level. He's putting out performances. He's doing his best, and he's knocking people the fuck out. And he's just putting on a show and also putting on a performance. Hey guys, welcome to the False Line Podcast here. This is your host, Alvaro. We got episode 183. I do apologize. Last time I think I said it was episode 181, and I didn't say 182. So not a big deal, but I do apologize about that. We had Ryan Garcia beating Oscar Duarte. Then we had UFC Fight Night, which was very exciting and makes the divisions a little bit more exciting for some cool matchups. But I'm going to talk about Ryan Garcia first, and then we'll get with UFC. So a lot of drama, I think, with Ryan the last few days or the last few weeks, 2 weeks. With the thing with Oscar and him saying things about Shakur, things about him, how he was injured during Tank. There's a lot of things that he said, very vocal, and some things people have taken. Made him good things, bad things, just a lot. There's a lot going on there with Ryan. So I want to bring that up because he had an amazing performance, close to flawless. You could say flawless with a lot of work to do, but he had probably one of his best performances in a long time. So, and like I said, I want to bring all these things up because Ryan Garcia, one thing that I was thinking about the last few days, he's been going through a lot. And I don't know if it's, because of him or because of people, I don't know, right? But, in his personal life, there's been things kind of wishy-washy and decisions that he probably shouldn't have done. And the coaching changes, this is his third coach, I think, in the last 3 years or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Moving to Dallas, cutting people off. Apparently, the whole thing with Oscar De La Hoya. I don't know, man. It just seems like he's kind of fed up with everything. So, I don't know if I don't know. Like I said, I just want to bring these up because he had a performance, just flawless, and I was just surprised that he was able to handle all these things. And especially in being vocal about it and seeing good things or bad things on social media. I'm sure he was on his phone, like disrespecting Oscar or, just shit like that. There's just a lot going on. So I just want to give a lot of props to Ryan for that because, I don't think it's an easy thing to do. But anyways, let's talk about the fight itself. I knew Oscar was going to come out hot. Like, it was pretty obvious. He comes like that every fight, no question. So, my thing was, how was Ryan going to be able to handle such a pressure fighter? Because I think, his recent fights or a lot of his fights, he's not getting pressed like that. And there's not a lot of fighters that press heavily like Oscar. There's not many fighters like that. So I was just like, kind of, man, we'll see how he does, whatever. So he was getting, pushed back, fighting off that back foot a lot, and showing us a really, and I'm sorry, Ryan, but a really ugly shoulder roll, to be honest with you. I was like, bro, what is he doing? And the commentary wasn't a fan of that either. So pretty weird to see. But anyways, he catches Oscar a lot of times coming in. And I want to say it's like round 4 or 5. Oscar had his best round. And Ryan was just looking not there. And I think we're going into the 6th or the 7th there, where there's that moment where Derek James, I hope I said his name correctly. I hope I got it right. But his trainer, his coach tells him, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. I don't want to say, I don't know word for word, but he goes in there. It tells Ryan this in his corner, And I want to say that same round or the next round is when he gets a knockout. And it was the exact instructions that his coach told him to do. I remember it was something along the lines like, hey, when you're moving, throw, and then on top of that, when Oscar, I forgot whether his shoulders were, when they're like this, he's not going to throw anything or something like that, right? But he told him something like that. And the discipline that Ryan has to listen to his coach, trust his coach, and start fighting like this. And I think that's important for Ryan because I think he's had coaches and he's probably been the type of fighter that's like, oh, I'm going to kind of do my own thing and not really listen to his trainer. I don't know, but there's a reason why this is your third change, whether that's because of you or the team, whatever. But listens to his coach, does what he needs to do, and gets a knockout. Very, very clean knockout. And I mean, Oscar, he was doing good, and I think he's a really good fighter. I really hope they give him more opportunities for bigger fights because he looked great in there. But that beautiful left hook, just so fast. And Oscar just got caught, and dude was out of it, And like I said, Ryan just caught him so clean, and it was such a nice finish. Excuse me. And again, back to what I said earlier, all the stuff that Ryan's been going through, and to come into this fight, because if he lost this fight, like, it could have been bad so fast. All the things he said about Shakur, all the interviews, and the thing what he said about De La Hoya, like, De La Hoya would have been right, Shakur would have been right, Tank Davis everybody would have been right but Ryan. And now the only one that was right is Ryan and everyone else who believed in Ryan. So I think there was a lot of pressure, there for Ryan, especially after getting the win. The pressure is gone, but it could have been real ugly for Ryan because we gave Shakur a lot of shit for the fight because he talks that shit, and then he goes out and does that weak-ass performance, and everybody, including myself, just fucking went after him. And then now you got Ryan and you got Devin Haney a week from now. So, okay, we shitted on Shakur. Now we're going to have a microscope on Ryan Garcia because Ryan Garcia is talking all this stuff about Shakur, So we're looking at Ryan talks all this mess, saying all this mess. Hey, but look, he backed it up. He looked a little sloppy at times, but he got the win, and he got the win by knockout against a guy that was pretty good and caught Ryan with some pretty clean shots. So it's a good look for Ryan. I'm happy for Ryan. He did the fight that he needed to do, and I think there's a lot of work for Ryan to do. I think his like when he's being pressured, I know there was times where Oscar was pressuring him and pinning him on like a corner, and he started, catching Ryan with some nice combos, and Ryan just was either stuck, and he got out of it at times, but he just didn't respond, right? Like, if he didn't know how to counter at times, it kind of felt like that was missing from Ryan because he was getting hit, but it's just like, where's the quick jab or like some movement and then throw a punch? But we didn't see that from Ryan, and I thought, that's what makes a good fighter a great fighter. Like, little things like that. When you get pinned in the corner, it's like, okay, how are you going to react when you're not controlling the fight and you're getting hit? How are you going to respond? Oh, Oscar's probably not, like I said, not the toughest challenge, a very tough challenge, a good test for Ryan, but, you saw that gap, or you saw that from Ryan, like, hey, this is missing. Another thing that was missing is his clinch game is fucking horrible. I love Ryan, he's a great fighter, but no action for him in the clinch. Every time they were in the clinch or just like this, Ryan was getting nothing. And then he just started turning on and doing that weird shit that he was doing. We've seen fighters, get good punches off the clinch, especially when you're coming off of just a quick, short hook. Ryan didn't have that. And that was one of the things, like, if you want to be, like, fighting against the best, like Devin Haney, Tank, Tefimo, those what's his name, Lomachenko, you want to fight those guys, you got to, those guys are going to catch you in the clinch, and those guys are going to get the best out of you when they got you pinned down in the corner, and they're going to punish you, Luckily for you, Oscar, like I said, is not at that highest level. Well, he'll punish you for those mistakes or for giving those opportunities. But, those are the two things I've noticed about Ryan that need some work. When he's getting punched, he needs to be able to counter. at least to get him out of trouble, right? Just like boom, get out of there. But and then in the clinch, same thing as well. Like if I was Oscar, I'm just gonna clinch you all day. Like we're gonna clinch and we're just gonna scrap right here, And Ryan did really well, and knowing that Oscar is the pressure fighter, not letting him get comfortable in his way of fighting. And that's why we saw Ryan just move lateral, left to right, the whole ring, just making circles around the ring. Because this guy, Oscar, is just going to press you and press you and press you till he gets you pinned down, and he's just going to fucking let it rip, right? And we didn't see that many moments from Oscar. We didn't see him have those moments too much. And when he did, that's when, those were his best moments. So kudos for Ryan on that, on the game plan, really. Defensively to not stay too still for Oscar and constantly be moving the whole fight. But overall Ryan had a great performance. He looked sharp, like he looked good. And not to say that he has looked sloppy in other fights. I know when he fought there was 2 guys that he fought that I was like, who are these guys? And just didn't look that good, right? In the ring. Then when he fought Tank, he looked okay, he looked good, but it wasn't the best version of Ryan. So, I saw people on Twitter like, what would you grade, Ryan's performance? I would give him an a 90, 93 out of 100. I think he did phenomenal. I think he, proved everybody wrong. And he showed us that he still has it in him, Now, I will say, because there's that like I said, Shakur fought like 2 weeks ago, and he had all this. He had all this backlash. He fought on the Thursday. He fought, I think, at T-Mobile or MGM. I forgot where he fought, but he fought somewhere. And what I'm finna get to is that Ryan Garcia fought at Toyota Center, sold it out, and it was off the roof. Off the roof. A lot of noise, a lot of chants for both sides, for Oscar and Ryan, but. Say what you want about Ryan, but people will fucking watch. And there's reasons for that. He's exciting, fast, and we've seen him get those crazy KOs, right? And as fans, casual fans, hardcore fans, whatever, as fans, we want to see that. And of course, if he comes to your town or close by, you're going to want to go live, bro. And you want to go see that. And this is what happens, like a fighter like Shakur. I can even say like Devin, but Devin's I think different, but more like Shakur, right? You have these guys talk all this shit. One guy's really good defensively, really good with the movement, but I mean we really haven't seen anything like where we want to watch this guy fight, and that's Shakur. Ryan Garcia may not be fighting at the highest level. He's working his way there, but he's putting out performances. He's doing his best, and he's knocking people the fuck out, and he's just putting on a show and also putting on a performance. And like that's just how it is, And Shakur could be the best boxer. And he can just touch and move, but nobody's going to want to tune into that. That's just how it is, right? And again, and I want to make this comparison because there's a lot of people that are behind Shakur. There's a lot of people that are behind Ryan. Now, skillfully, I would like to say, Shakur's probably the better fighter. But for Ryan Garcia, like, if Ryan Garcia fought on Thursday, you're getting almost the same amount of volume that you did on Saturday. Almost the same. No question. Ryan Garcia does have that pull. Ryan Garcia can get pay-per-view vibes. Like, he can. He's a star. He can't do it. And I think a lot of people hate on Ryan because of that. It's like, oh, well, his boxing's not that good. He's just a social media influencer. He's handsome, and he just has these knockouts against these cans. Like, people make these reasons why he's not that good. But I will go on and say that I think if Ryan has, if he can get his mind right, and stay disciplined and listen and trust his coach and his trainers, I think Ryan could be one of the best boxers, like no question. He's so fast and strong, and he's long. His reach is weird. Like, he's built for to do what he does, which is get the fast, flashy knockouts. Like, he's built for that. His body just is built for it. So I mean, he just has to put his mind to it, and then I want to see that from Ryan because he's a guy that a lot of people hate on. I'm like, bro, I want you to prove all these people wrong. I want you to shut up people like Shakur and just fucking make a shit ton of money and beat people up. Like, I really want to see that from Ryan. So, and Ryan might, he looked funny, and it's funny seeing a guy like Ryan talk that shit and talk crazy, but Ryan's going to get in there and fight. Like always, every fight that Ryan's had, he's just been fighting, and he puts on a show all the time. We've seen many fighters, many boxers, any type of fighter where they're playing it safe, whether they're going for the takedowns or they're constantly clinching where, they just punch and move. Like, we've seen those type of fighters, and it happens. And those are the boring fights that we don't want to see. And those fighters, unfortunately, like, they might be skillful, but you're just not exciting, and nobody wants to watch that. Shakur Stevenson had an interview, and he said that Ryan's not good, which world champions, all this shit. And I'm just like, bro, when we talk about world champions in boxing, like, there's just so many belts that are pointless, and it's kind of hard to tell when a real champion is a real champion. The only time I take a champion seriously in boxing is when they're undisputed. Because you have all the belts, so no one can have them but you. That's when I'm like, all right, that's the champion. Now when this guy has, when there's like 5-6 different belts in a division, I'm like, bro, you got 6 different champions, 5 different champions, So Shakur be talking about world champions. I'm like, bro, when you become undisputed, then you can talk some shit about being a world champion, right? But there's only, out of those handful of guys, with the Ryan Garcia, Teofimo, Shakur, Devin, George Kambosos, Lomachenko, out of those guys, I think there's only 3 that's been undisputed, and that's Devin Haney, Teofimo. Kambosos did it, but I don't know. I think it was a fluke. And I want to say Lomachenko was undisputed at one point. Tank hasn't been undisputed. Ryan hasn't. Shakur hasn't. So when you become undisputed, then you're the fucking real deal. But that's just my input. For Ryan, I do want, like, one of the biggest things for Ryan, I want him to trust his trainer. Want him to trust his team. And lastly, the commentary on the fights, right? When I was watching Shakur fight, Sean Porter was like praising Shakur. And then like, oh yeah, he about to turn up. Oh yeah, this is how he fights. He starts off slow, just riding for his guy. Talk about Ryan just talking mad shit about Ryan. I don't know what Ryan's doing in there. Ryan needs to do this. Ryan needs to do that. And then you got this. And then Sean Porter and the zone team were going back and forth. It's just like, well, what do you want Ryan to do? You got a pressure fighting coming at you. You're not going to stay still. You're going to move left to right. Like, come on. And then on top of that, when Oscar was coming in, yeah, Ryan was catching him a few times with some hooks. Some uppercuts. So it's annoying to see that bias in commentary. And when you see, you see these guys have their own shows on YouTube, whatever, and they can be biased all they want. But I think when I'm watching a show, not a show, a fight, a game, a soccer game or football game, there has to be just no bias. We got to praise, fighters or whoever's performing, whether it's a sport like soccer, whatever. We got to praise them. And when they're not doing good, we'll say what we got to say at the moment. But I just don't like seeing the bias. And even in UFC, right, there just be a lot of bias there. And I don't like seeing it in the commentary team. I want to see a very level bias and just enjoy the fight. So I just wanted to bring that up because it was pretty hard not to catch it last night. But like I said, big W for Ryan. He calls out Rolly and says that he lost to that old ass man, which was pretty fucking funny because I think Rolly did get knocked down. I forgot how it happened, but I think he did get knocked down. But I think a fight with him and Rolly would be exciting. I think it could be a pay-per-view event, and I think it would sell a lot of pay-per-views, a lot of shit talking. So it'll be very funny and very exciting, entertaining, no question. I'm trying to think of other fights for Ryan that could be nice. I think against George Kambosos, that would be a really good fight. They're built the same. I know they're talking about him fighting Lomachenko, but I don't see Lomachenko fighting George Kambosos. Lomachenko gains nothing from winning that fight. The only one that comes out a winner there, if they win, is George Kambosos. But if Ryan fights George Kambosos, I think that's not the hardest test, but it gets you like in the conversation. Like if you beat George Kambosos, who used to be undisputed, beat Teofimo, and then lost to Devin twice. It's a good look, I think, for Ryan. So I think he should go for George Kambosos or Rolly Romero would be a good fight as well. Last thing I want to say about boxing, I want to talk about Tank real quick because I see a lot of people talking about Tank and how Tank, is the face of boxing and Tank this, Tank that, Tank, right? I go on and say this, Tank probably is one of the best boxers in the world, no question. Probably in the top 5 for the face of boxing, top 5 for pound. But we will never see Tank fight a fair fight. We will never see Tank not have any stipulations on a contract when fighting somebody. He's going to have a rehydration clause, or it's going to be a weight thing, or he'll catch a guy who's not recovered fully. He's what, I don't know what the word is, but the way Tank fights is his mindset and the way he approaches fights. It's exactly like how Mayweather did, right? He would fight guys with hydration clauses. He fought Pacquiao past his prime, things like that. You're not gonna. I don't think we're ever gonna see Tank Davis fight the best version of Devin Haney, the best version of Teofimo, the best version of Lomachenko, the best version of possibly Ryan. Like, we're never gonna see those fights with Tank, and I think that's what's gonna be like. Or that's gonna suck as a fan because I want to see really how good is Tank. Like, how good is he? Like if him and Devin Haney fought right now, how would that fight be? Like, I would want to see that, right? How would him and Teofimo, like, how would that fight be? I would want to see that right now, right? Not if Teofimo goes and loses a few fights. Not if Devin Haney loses the belts. I want to see it right now with the highest stakes when they've like fought at the highest level they've shown us. That's when I want to see those fights. And I feel like that's why for Tank, I'm just never going to be like, you're that guy, bro. Because I don't think he's ever going to fight the best versions of the guys that I just mentioned. So I want to bring that up because a lot of people give a lot of praise to Tank, but I see it. I respect it. He's a great fighter. But, Tank Davis he's fought really good fights. Santa Cruz, and I forgot the other guy, including Ryan, Rolly Romero. But we haven't seen him fight those big names and get like the best versions of them. Like I said, Devin Haney, Teofimo, and Lomachenko. I think those guys, including Tank, like those 4 guys are the best guys like out of that group right now. And they need to be fighting each other before they get too old, and and they can make a shit ton of money. So that's that. So let's move on to UFC. So I'm gonna talk about the last 4 fights or the 4 fights, not the first one, but we had Sean Brady against Kelvin. Not the most exciting fight. Big W for Sean. Brady. It kind of sucks for Kelvin Gastelum because I want to say he went down this weight class or this fight, it was his first fight in a few years at middleweight or welterweight. I don't know which one it was, but anyways, went down a division to fight, and he just had no success. He just got dominated for 3 rounds, and I was just like, damn, like this kind of sucks. Like I want to say, he was a decent fighter, so it kind of sucks when you see a fighter just have a performance like that. But kudos to Sean Brady. Super annoying that Belal Muhammad includes himself into this situation because I don't think Sean Brady is. He took this fight to the ground. Like he didn't even scrap. He didn't bother scrapping. So I see people talking about Beneil striking game, his boxing game is like, oh, it's underrated. I'm like, bro, Sean Brady ain't no fucking boxer. He ain't got no striking. Like he'll get outstruck, but by most people in his division, most likely. And he's a great grappler and he's great on the ground. But I'm like, bro, Beneil, this is why I don't like you, bro. You mad annoying and including yourself into situations. I'm like, bro, you beat Sean Brady. Like, good for you, right? So that's that fight. Big W for Sean. We'll see what's next for both guys. And then we had I want to say it was the Deiveson Figueiredo versus Rob Font. Now this fight was very exciting because this was Davidson's first fight in the bantamweight division at 135, coming up from 125. So very brutal weight cuts, I think, in my opinion. But he was knocking the people the fuck out at that division. for most of the time. So fighting a guy like Rob Font, not the Rob Font is just that fighter you just don't want to fight. Like, he'll just give you problems no matter who you are. That's the fighter that Rob Font is. Like, he'll just fucking give you problems the whole time. So, I mean, to move up and to fight the number, was it 8 or 9 ranked guy, and then get a W, was very impressive. I don't know if Figueiredo was holding back, but there was moments where I wanted him to fucking just let loose. Like, let loose. And there was, I mean, he caught Rob, and that's when I was like, okay, like, let's go, right? But even after that, like, he just didn't fully go, like, it seems like he didn't fully commit to it, right? And I was like, man, I wonder what's wrong. Like, why is he not just fucking letting loose, letting go? I don't know if he was too scared to get caught. I don't know if he was worried about something. I don't know, right? I don't know if something was bothering him, but I feel like he left a little bit on the table, and he had more to give as far as like letting his hands go. So, you know, I mean, but also too, like, just there goes to show, like, maybe if he did leave things on the table and he got that W like that, just imagine what else he could do in the division. So I think it was a big W for him. I mean, I would put him at the top 10 at the bantamweight division, and the bantamweight division right now is a very, very stacked and exciting division, with the champion being Sean O'Malley. I mean, Figueiredo could fight. He won't fight Henry. I mean, I want to say they're teammates or they train together, but there are people. A lot of people want to see Peter Yan and Deiveson Figueiredo, and I think that fight would be fucking crazy. You know, both of them are amazing on the ground, are amazing in striking, and they're built almost the same, short, fucking stocky guys. So a lot of people want that fight, and Deiveson, if he wants to be a champion at 135, that's a challenge you must take. I mean, if he beats Peter Yan, like, after that, like, you got to be fighting either Aljamain or Merab or for the title, no question. So, or even Cody Sanhagen would be a fucking good fight for Deiveson. A very challenging fight, but I mean, if he wants to be in the conversation and wants to make a run at 135, those are the guys to fight. So I think we will see Peter Yan against Deiveson Figueiredo. Peter Yan, he hasn't had a fight, or a fight lined up. So I mean, that would be fucking banger, no question. So I see people already talking about it on Twitter. So I think we'll get it, no question. Let's talk about our co-main event. We had Jailin Turner against Bobby Green. I was very excited for this fight. I think it was a very good fight matchup, but I am very, very surprised with Jailin Turner because he took the fight on short notice. I want to say it was 2-week notice. And I mean, the guy's a tall dude, and he's pretty big for his division at 155. So, I mean, he was having issues with weight, with the weight cutting. And there was pictures and videos of him I saw Thursday and Friday. And I'm like, bro, this guy's like dying. Like, he's just drained. Like, he has no energy. He's so bony. Like, when he weighed in, I'm like, bro, what? You know, and then Bobby Green, I was like, Bobby Green's just going to get the best out of him. He just got to take him to like round like 3 and then just fucking beat him. That's it. But boy, I was wrong. Jailin Turner fucking is nice, bro. And Bobby Green came in there looking nice, but, you know, he just pieced up Bobby Green like clean. And now Jailin Turner puts himself in a position where he's going to be fighting the best guys also at 155. And, I mean, he looked great. He got a big W, and his next fight's going to be exciting. I would love to see, you know, Jailin Turner against, like, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. That would be fucking a good-ass fight. No, and I'm trying to see. Let me see what other names Jailin Turner we would, I think, like, really love to see. Let's see. So, I mean, Dan Hooker's in there as well. So, I mean, Jailin Turner against Dos Anjos, Dan Hooker. I mean, Fiziev hurt. Gamrot would be good. Chandler would be fucking fire. Like, there's some good matchups Jailin Turner can get in with, and it would be very exciting. But I would like to see him fight Michael Chandler or like a Dan Hooker for no question. Like, that's the fight I would want to see. So, you know, it opens up at it opens up the division. It opens up pretty nice matchups. And for Bobby Green, I mean, he reminds me of Kevin Holland. Like, he's just an exciting fighter to watch, and he's a fan favorite, and he's just going to be putting up performances when he can. So let's get on to the main event. Arman Tsarukyan against Beneil Dariush. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this because I want you to guys know, like, I'm being honest. I'm not trying to, like, be any way. But personally, I'm just not a fan of Arman Tsarukyan. I don't like seeing a lot of fighters get hyped up over grappling or wrestling, or because you lost a close decision to Islam Makhachev on the late notice. It's impressive, right? But I just don't like getting fighters like overly hyped, and I just don't like it, you know. And then what he did to Bobby Green, I don't know what Bobby Green has said, but it had to be like online or a tweet that he put out, and then Arman wants to start some shit with him. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, if you're a future champ, like, you cannot have that fucking mentality. And then the shit that he says after the fight is ridiculous. Like, I was happy to see his head hit the canvas and go like that. Why are you happy to see that, bro? Like, why? Like, I don't understand what the beef is, but the dude, it was an ugly stoppage, and I don't want to talk about it because how ugly it was. Like, I don't want to talk about it. It was shitty stoppage, but, you know, the ref did what he had to do, and it is what it is, right? I'm not going to shit on the ref for that. But yeah, the stoppage wasn't the best. But I mean, as a fighter and you guys work for the same promotion, why you rooting for that? Why are you like it's just ugly, man. So that's why I'm not a fan of Arman. Don't get me wrong, the guy's a fucking talented guy. And put out Beneil Dariush in a minute. And you know, kind of whiffed the knee and fucking caught him fast with that right hand. And Beneil Dariush was lights out. So very, 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 very good performance, because I thought Beneil Dariush was going to come out and looking a lot better. And I will go on and say this. You know, there's no question that Arman's top 5 in the division at 155, and he should fight you know, somebody, and then if he gets that win, he's next for the title, no question, right? I'm not going to take that away from Arman Tsarukyan, but I will say this about Beneil. So Beneil Dariush was on some crazy win streak, but he hadn't fought. He fought Tony, but he hadn't fought anyone like Dustin, Justin, Islam. Who was the other guy? Michael Chandler and Charles at the time. So five names that I just I think I said 5. And he fought Gamrot. He fought who's the other guy? Who's the other guy he fought? Oh man, I forgot. But he got a win against. Oh, I mean, he beat Tony. He beat Gamrot. So like there were some impressive wins there, but not the scariest names in the division. So, And when Beneil was going to fight Charles, a lot of people were hyping up Beneil Dariush. And I was just like, bro, no. Like, just no, right? And I was pretty right about that. So he gets knocked the fuck out against Charles. And then he comes into this fight, you know, with, I guess, like, that crazy win streak, gets knocked out, comes into this fight, fighting a younger, hungry guy. In my opinion, that I don't think it's really all that, but he's clearly in the top 5 now. I'm like, is Beneil Dariush, was he overhyped? You know, or was his time just past now? Or Arman is just that good? And I'm stuck in between those 3. And maybe because I'm not a fan of Arman, I don't know. But I think about it, but I was like, but Benny hasn't really fought anyone like that. When he fought Charles, look what happened. When he fought Arman, look what happened. Is he getting too old? He looks like a whole grandpa, or like a whole dad. I mean, my bad, but a whole dad right now with the gray hair. Is he getting too old? I don't know. So, not taking away anything from Tsarukyan, but I can't help myself but think about like how Benny is, like how good is he? How hard was the challenge? You know, because Arman made it look fucking like a walk in the park. Made it look a lot easier than Charles Oliveira did, right? And is he better than Charles? Or is Benny just washed? Is he just past his time? And that's where I'm stuck at because, and it's very fucking difficult because I don't like this guy. I'm not a fan, but I do want to give his credit when the credit's due. Like, no question. Charles Oliveira got the knockout, and I'm like, he's next for the title. No question. And I said that because, he's fought in everybody and beat everybody except for Islam. And he's this guy, everybody's hyping up Beneil Dariush. He puts out Beneil. I'm back for the title. That's why I'm like, there's no question for Charles. Now, for Arman, he lost to Gamrot. He beats Benny. And I'm like, okay, he might be up there. And this is why I want to see him fight another guy. I want to see him fight Dustin Poirier or Michael Chandler. I would love to see him fight Michael Chandler. I love Michael Chandler. I think he's one of the most exciting guys in the division, and I think he's one of the best in the division. I know he gets beat up a lot, but that dude, he's a beast, man. And if he would have had the same fights that Beneil Dariush had, the same fights that Arman Tsarukyan had, the same fights, I'm trying to think who else. Those two for sure. But if he would have fought those same guys before he got to the Charles Oliveira, before he got to Justin Gaethje, before he got to Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler's beating those guys, no question. And this is what I like about Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler came into the UFC hot. He gets a knockout against, who was it? I think it was Dan Hooker. And then he's fighting for the title. And then he's fighting Dustin Poirier. Then he's fighting Justin Gaethje. He fought Tony Ferguson. Like, he's only fighting killers in the division. So I would love to see that matchup against Arman because, not to make it seem like we're going to cut some, like, give an easier fight to Michael Chandler, but he already fought all the killers. He's a good test to anybody who wants to move up in the division. And I think for Arman to fight Michael Chandler, if he beats Michael Chandler, I mean, that says a lot. I think it says a lot. And I'm like, go ahead. Yeah, I think you're next for the title. Because I think you get this. It's the same weight. If he goes and beats Dustin Poirier, it's the same as you beat Michael Chandler. You beat, I think, if you fought Justin Gaethje, which I don't think that fight's going to happen because we all know what Justin Gaethje wants. But if he beats Justin Gaethje, whoa, like that's mind-blowing. You beat Charles Oliveira, that's mind-blowing. You beat Islam Makhachev, I mean, you're the champion, that's mind-blowing, right? So, and I don't think he's going to have that fight yet. I think that'll be his title fight where he has that win and we're just blown away. But I think he needs to fight Michael Chandler or even Dustin Poirier. But I think the Michael Chandler fight would be exciting. I know he's supposed to fight Conor, but, bro, I want to see Michael Chandler and Tsarukyan go at it. So, and now for Benny, I don't know, man. I don't know. He got knocked the fuck out. It took him a while to get up. And it's kind of sad because I think there was a lot of talent there. And he was just never popping like that. I don't know if people just never gave him a chance. I don't know if he never asked for those big fights like Justin, a few years ago. Like, I mean, I never really knew about Benny like that. And also, I wasn't just as involved in the sport as I am now. But I really don't know. People are saying that he's retiring and that he's done. I don't know, man. But it sucks if this was his last fight because it's a sad way to go. But I think he should have got. He's one of those guys that definitely should have got his opportunity a lot sooner because he got his opportunity like towards the end of his prime. So I don't know, man. It's tough for him. It's tough, and I feel for Benny. But yeah, guys, that's the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of the week. Peace.